Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of In Your Wheelhouse, brought to you by WheelHouse IT. As always, I am your host, Todd Rosales. We've got a great episode for you. It's going to be a quick one, but this is something that we see every day with people out there, business operators, all sorts of business owners, issues that pop up and kind of affect your day-to-day mentality. Who I'm about to introduce you to, the person I'm about to introduce you to is someone who we had been in conversation with, and unfortunately a storm came coming and they lost power and needed help to get up and running and get back operational. A great firm based in New York, someone who's been operating for quite some time, and we're going to talk to him a little bit today about how his company leverages technology to do their job, any changes that happened during the pandemic, and then ultimately going through something that down here in South Florida we're very accustomed to in the form of hurricanes and tropical storms and all sorts of weather anomalies, but something that, people in New York don't have to deal with nearly as often as we do. And sometimes it catches them more by surprise than it does us down here just with our experience. So please welcome our guest today, Vince Gerbino, partner at Bruno Gerbino, Soriano, and Aitken. Thanks for joining us today, Vince.
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, so my story is that we're a 25-year business here in Long Island, and we've been practicing in the insurance defense industry. We've branched out a little bit into some real estate work since then, as well as doing some coverage analysis for various insurance carriers. So we began to see the writing on the wall as it relates to IT when we kind of got wind from our governor that, during this pandemic, we better get ready to work remotely. Prior to the pandemic, we kind of had a clunky remote system. So we knew we had to gear up pretty quickly once we were going to close the office down. So we did that, and we went through our current IT person at that time, created VPN access, which unfortunately we became to better understand what that meant when our building went through the recent tropical storm / hurricane, whatever you want to call it. And not only did we lose power for several days, the building generator system also went down. So it became a real emergency where we could not access our servers. And when we could not access our servers, our remote VPN access was useless. And the building generators were down for probably so the building was down for a week. The building generators were down for 3 days during that week. So what we did was, we turned to our IT company at the time. They did not respond to any of our calls, neither emails or cell phone calls or landline calls. And I was friends with Adam, one of your owners, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I said, Adam, I know you've been courting me for a while. I'm in a situation where I can't even work remotely. Everything is down, and I can't get the servers up because the generators are down. And I thought I was a genius, right? I thought I was a genius that I was able to think ahead and hook up the servers to the building generator. But little did I know that, they're also as vulnerable as anything else. They're basically 2 diesel engines, and apparently they broke down. No fault of anyone other than probably lack of maintenance, but I'm not going to make any complaints. I called Adam. I'm like, we need to figure a workaround. And that was over a weekend, quite frankly, which was a real step up on the part of you guys. He was able to get us to a point where we could connect through a different type of a remote access, going direct to the terminal server, as opposed to working through a VPN remote system.
So no, I appreciate you sharing that story, and I think it's one that a lot of people go through, especially given what's going on with the pandemic. Like you said, you had a remote access solution in place. I would have myself thought, okay, if a hurricane comes or anything, we're certainly prepared for this. Now that you have this experience, I mean, to me, it feels like it almost takes someone going through this to realize that there might be some holes in the systems that you're using. It's no fault of the business owner. By all means, your education, you're a lawyer, you're an expert at what you do. No one expects you to be an expert in technology alongside of being able to be an amazing lawyer and B, running a business too. I mean, would you say that sometimes it takes this experience?
It does take us to have these experiences to really understand that we need these items in place so that our business has continuity and get away from the old days, you know. And now we're going to be moving with Wheelhouse to have a more of a offsite location that could actually work as a spare tire that would get us through a scenario involving a generator situation, so that we're not relying upon one IT closet to do all of our work. So and that's also eventually going to lead us to hopefully getting into a more cloud-based system and move away from servers that, for whatever reason, and maybe because we've been in business for so long, they seem to go out of warranty pretty quickly.
Yeah. No,
Every 5 years replacing servers. So.
They absolutely do. I mean, if we look at technology just as a whole, I mean, look at our iPhones, right? There's a new one coming out every year, and it's assumingly always better than the next one. Desktop computers and everything are the same. So you guys are definitely making the right decision to move towards the cloud. I even think that it's going to end up being better for your customer service and your clientele, because it's going to be very easy for you to do things like this, do virtual consultations. It's very similar to like you and I are doing, especially given the times that we're in right now. And then, of course, it's going to allow you to work from anywhere. So I know that, I'm sure you love going to the office every day, but I'm sure you'll in the future love the ability to kind of work from wherever you want to, as long as you don't need to be in front of your clients, home, office, the park, the beach, wherever you can get an internet connection. I'm sure that's going to be a little bit appealing.
No, absolutely. It's the new way of doing things, and it's the right way of doing things, and it gives you the ability to be mobile. And I think that's what's the most crucial aspect, is to not be absolutely tied to one given location where all your IT is there, whether it's your terminal servers, whether it's your email server, whether it's your phone system. When you're tied to this one closet that unfortunately could go out any given second, whether it's a storm or a tree or the lack of good generators, it's better to have a system in place where you could go to another location when you need to and flip that switch and stay operational. Even the phone system, where we were tied to, everything is tied to that, those servers. And now we're talking about with Wheelhouse, even moving the phones to a cloud-based system so that you never go down. And, I assume the cloud could go down, but it seems more likely that it's certainly, to me, seems to be something that's a little more there for you when you need it on any given time. So it seems to be the way to go.
Absolutely. Well, our favorite word in the IT world is redundancy, right? We want to make sure that you have plenty of redundancy in place to ensure that these things don't happen. If they do go down, there's another connection up and running. So this way you can keep going. And then, one of the last things I want to touch on, because I want to let you get back to your job, is as someone who operates up in New York, you're not in a place where natural disasters are regular. I mean, your storms that kind of disable your area are snowstorms that just close the roads, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose power to your office or anything along these lines. When you look at your business, was a hurricane something that you really prepare for that often where you guys are geographically?
Right. No, and you're right about that. But I think in unfortunately, the wave of the future is that we have to be more prepared. We have to be more prepared for major storms in the entire East Coast area, whether it's because of global warming, or whether it's because of the sea level rise, or whether it's because of the heated sea temperatures. They seem to be coming more often and stronger. So I think it's no longer one of those situations where we could sit back and say, hey, you know what? We're in New York. We're isolated. We're never going to have a storm that's going to go across the peninsula like it does in Florida. I think those days are long gone. I think, you know, I always keep my ear out now for the next one so that we could be prepared if need be. So, you know, I think that luxury of sitting back and resting on the fact that we haven't had such a large number of storms like Florida has are unfortunately a thing of the past. So I think we need to be prepared now across the entire East Coast.
Well, we're very happy to bring our, 20 plus years of being right in the target zone for hurricanes down here in Florida to you guys. And we're really excited to continue working with you and help make sure that you guys are on the cutting edge of technology. But as much as being on the cutting edge of technology is cool, we want to make sure that you guys can operate, swiftly from anywhere remotely, and that you're always able to operate and that you're always able to provide for your clients. And we really appreciate your partnership. Thank you for that. And before we go, because you are in the New York area and we do have a lot of clients and people who watch this from the New York area, let's talk a little bit about your business and where people can find you, because hey, you are a law firm, you're up and operating, and when trouble strikes, you're going to continue to operate when everybody else is going to scramble to figure out how they can get back to business. So
that is true, and I'm grateful for having that capability. So we're located in Melville, Long Island. We've been in practice for 25 years. I've personally been an admitted attorney in the state of New York and New Jersey for 30 years, and we also have an office in northern New Jersey. We also do work in Buffalo, New York, with a small satellite office. We're in the process of even expanding a small office in Lower Manhattan. So we're in a growth spurt, which is great. We do litigation defense. Does not necessarily have to be for an insurance company. We could certainly handle commercial transactions that have gone awry, contracts that have been breached, any issue you may have where your insurance company is not paying on a claim for some reason. We could look at your policy, determine the coverage issues, and fight for your rights in that regard. So we do a lot of work in that area where we could assist in contract claims, we could assist in coverage claims, we could assist in any type of litigation, inclusive of even estate litigation, which I do some of myself. So we're here. We do some real estate work as well. We have a partner dedicated in a real estate team here in both New York and New Jersey. So we're open for business, ready for the next client. So we're happy to be part of WheelHouse and here to be in business during the next hurricane. Hopefully we don't have too many more this year.
I agree with you, and I hope we all stay safe, but I promise you we will get you through whatever comes next. Vince, thank you so much for joining us today, and I really appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Todd. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you, everybody at home, for watching. This has been another episode of In Your Wheelhouse, and we'll see you next time.